My name is Tiago Coimbra. I'm from Portugal. I play the oboe and I'm 31 years old. I performed a lot of contemporary music, but I never worked with electronic music, so that's absolutely my first time with live electronic or with tape. The possibility to work with sample was to explore this new area of contemporary music, and when I saw your call, I thought it would be really interesting to explore. I didn't know the sample, and it was to work with electronic music was something that I wanted to try it. I wanted to make something in this area. So yeah, I was very curious and I was very happy that you invited me. I find a residency where the performer and the composer work together is something very interesting and very attractive. I studied in Zurich at the Zürcher Hochschule der Kunst, and there we had some residences, but in an academic situation. So I performed some of the pieces composed by the students there, and it's interesting. But now I had the possibility that a composer writes a piece for me, where I take part in the creative process. And this is something for me very exciting. We are working together in the process, so I don't want to disturb the creation, so that's something for the composer. But once it is finished, or she gave me the ideas, what she wanted, and yeah, and it was very interesting to see how was also the evolution. And when I tried something in the oboe and I presented her how it sounded, and so we did some experiments. So this idea of working with a composer is something that I like very much and I enjoy it very much. It went very well to work alone. I mean, um, also in my academic life, when I studied in Zurich or in Basel, of course I performed the pieces for the teacher, for my professors. But when it concerned to new music or to contemporary music, I always enjoyed very much to be on my own. So I always tried to give my ideas, and of course then there are some major pieces that you work with your teacher. Barrier sequence, you have to work with someone, no? But I was used to it. So when Zorinha sent me the scores, it was like, okay, I will discover the piece. No one is going to tell me anything about the piece. So it's completely my vision, my interpretation, and I'm sure if someone else performs the piece, it's going to be completely different. And this is something I like very much in the music of our composers of nowadays. To work with the sample was at the beginning a little bit complicated because it was my first experience with electronic music. So the two pieces that I selected that were already composed, it was a little bit easier because it's with a tape. You press the pedal, the tape runs, and you perform it. The other piece, you have some interaction, but not quite much. You have 2-3 pedals and it's not problematic. But the piece by Zorinha, she explores very much the sample, she explores the different possibilities, and I have to use 7 pedals. And to be on the right pedal, it was for me at the beginning a problem. I was not used to. And also it took some time until I got the sensibility to change the pedals, because it's not just on off, it just you work with the pedals, and there are some slow movements you have to do, and the piece is also technically very difficult for the oboe. So first I played it just the oboe, then I tried to mix it with the pedals. It didn't work. So I studied just the pedals, the movements, the coordination, and then I tried to section by section to put it together. At the beginning it was also difficult because I tried to take very serious everything that Zöllringer wrote. So the movement of the pedal when it begins, how much it is the movement, is it a slow movement, where do I arrive, is it already too much or should I be even more? And this was difficult, but after that I tried to incorporate all the movements and the changes in the sound in the music and in my way of performing the piece, so that the movements of the pedals and these distortions about the sound, so that they become more natural and not so mathematical as it is written. And that was the moment when I started really to enjoy the piece, to enjoy playing with the sample. Yeah, but it's a period of time that you need preparation if you're not used to it, but then it's very interesting. I choose the pieces by Dan Schwartz, the February Strike, and by Sam Sheen, the Arouse Beyond, because it would be my first experience with electronic music. So I selected different pieces. The February Strike piece, you just press the pedal, the tape runs, and you are very free. There are some indications about when you should start your melody, but if you don't start at that right moment, if you start 2-3 seconds later, it's not a problem. So you are very, very free. It's just an orientation for you. But then the other piece, the Arouse Beyond, it's very, very strict. So you have to be with the tape, because there is some interaction about what happens on the tape and you make some accents that will come later in the tape. And so I play with a click clack, so a metronome on my ear, so that you are very, very precise. And that are two ways of performing with a tape. That's why I select these different pieces, because I knew Zöllringer would write a piece for real live electronics. So where there's no tape, you work your sound, you transform your sound, and choosing these two pieces and with the piece by Zöllringer, I have a vision of different possibilities to play and to work with electronic music, and that was for me very, very rich. I learned a lot with these three pieces. To perform a piece with a tape or to make completely live electronic music, there are two complete different ways of making music. Both are very interesting, and with tape I had two pieces that also are totally different. For example, I like very much the February Strike piece by Dan Schwartz because you have something sounding and you play the melody. You are almost completely free. There are just some points where you should be more or less together with the tape, but it's not so important, and you are very free. So I enjoy it very much. It's a very nice piece. The piece by Sam Sheen, the Arouse Beyond, it's very interesting because you have always an interaction with the tape. So you react to the tape, or the tape plays something that you have played. So you have this synchronization. The piece by Zöllringer is completely different because you have to be very focused, your concentration has to be 100%, because the piece is for oboe very difficult, and for the pedals it's also very difficult. So it's very interesting, and when you arrive to the point that you are able to perform it, you feel like very free because you control everything, and this is a very nice feeling. But in the preparation it's much more harder, no? So there are two completely different ways. I cannot choose that one is better than the other, or one is more interesting. Both are very, very interesting, and I'm very happy I explored both of them, and they are really three nice pieces. I felt a little bit curious how it would be the final result, because I practiced it alone at my place, It's not a concert hall. I could not put the electronic very loud at my place because I have neighbors. So when I arrived at the museum and we have suddenly really big sound in the electronic, it's completely different. That means also the distortions that happen with my sound are different. So for me it was very interesting to have a concert situation because with the COVID I haven't had the possibility to prepare the piece example in a concert hall, so it was my first experience at the museum. But all the recordings I heard we did with the cell phones or so, the sound is completely different than what I heard as a performer when I was performing it. So it's very interesting. I'm very looking forward to see the final result because I want to listen how it was for the public, for the audience. I think the recording session went very well. We had a very nice museum with a very nice acoustic, which is for us as musicians very important because you have the feedback how you are sounding, and we had a very relaxing atmosphere. Yeah, it was good. Of course, you are very focused. It's a lot of energy spent in a couple of minutes of hours, and yeah, then you do mistakes. You want to be perfect in the recording. You repeat, but we had a very calming atmosphere. It was very nice. Yeah, I'm very excited and looking forward to hear the final result. I'm very happy we could do this recording because I think when you make a recording, you go deeper in the piece. Because for me, a recording is a document that will stay forever, I hope. And when you know you are going to make a recording, you go farther and deeper in the piece. You discover more things, you discover other things than when you just perform at a concert. Yeah, I could say enjoy it, discover it, explore it, and have fun.